Good morning, Wellspring. My name is Vicki Avery. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at Wellspring, and I'm part of your Sunday, December 17th, 2023 service team. And just as we get used to writing 23, we're going to be switching over to 24. Can you believe it? It sounds like science fiction. Well, as always, we're going to start off with a few announcements. Early Bird meets every Sunday morning at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. And we're just in the beginning part of a new book, which is wonderful. Upcoming speakers for the rest of December. Today, we are honored to have Jeanne Gehringer with us. And next Sunday on the 24th, Dr. Edward will speak. And then to close out the year on the 31st, Peggy Shin will be our speaker. Thursday evening group meets every week at 7 p.m. They're starting a new series called Mystery Teachings by Teresa Bullard. Teresa is a PhD, deftly interweaves complex concepts from ancient mystery teachings and quantum physics to bring us real-world ways in which we can deepen our spiritual connections and manifest a fulfilled life. I hear that it's going very well. Lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and to support you. You may submit a request via our webpage, or you can give a paper copy to Edward today. The prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time, because we know that we are one in spirit and the energy of prayer knows no limits. And now it's time for our invocation. And pretend that I'm chiming. Ding! They're out in Sharon's car. Ding! So we invoke Spirit. Mother, Father, God, Great Spirit, we come together today as a spiritual family, supporting each other on each of our spiritual journeys. And this time of year, in the season of darkness turning into light, we celebrate with festivals of light and know that all is well in the kingdom, in the queendom, and out in Sharon's car. And we give great thanks for this time together, and so it is. And now, if you are able or would like to, please stand and we will sing the song of joy. Please be seated. You all sounded so purty. So now, if you would please, let's join together and read our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in the world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation: as we celebrate this season of light, I acknowledge and affirm that we are a unique expression of light in the world. I generously and gratefully share my light with the entire cosmos, and so it is. And now it's time for our dear Doug. Doug Adamz with a Z.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here, and it's so good to see everybody. Later, I have a brand new song for later in the service. There's a certain kind of gift I'm looking for this Christmas. There's a certain kind of gift I'm looking for this Christmas. A gift of grace to fill this place, like the choir, like the sun that shines for everyone. There's a certain kind of joy I'm looking for this Christmas. There's a certain kind of joy I'm looking for this Christmas. A joy that runs deep, awake or asleep, like the roots of a tree your eyes may never see. There's a certain kind of love I'm looking for this Christmas. There's a certain kind of love I'm looking for this Christmas. A love that can heal, a love that I feel. If I look deep inside, I find love for the whole world wide. There's a certain kind of gift I'm looking for this Christmas. There's a certain kind of gift I'm looking for this Christmas.
Thank you, Doug. That was lovely, as always. There it is. Okay. Well, winter's coming, and it's the darkest night. And so many cultures, many societies celebrate festivals of light. And the Hindus say namaste, that they honor the light within the other. Pagans, Druids celebrate solstice and dance around the fire and celebrate the light. Christians celebrate the birth of baby Jesus, who is the light of the world. So I was looking at a lot of different groups that celebrate light, and I was interested to find that in the mid-1600s, George Fox, who's the founder of the Quakers, his main belief was there is a light within each of us. And so the reading today is called The Light Within. The essential experience of friends is that of a direct, unmediated relationship with the divine. Friends have used many terms or phrases to refer to the inner certainty of their faith. They say the light within, the inner light, the Christ within, the inward teacher, the divine presence, spirit, the great spirit, the spirit of truth, that of God in every person, and the seed. In his journal, George Fox referred to that inward light, spirit, and grace by which all might know their salvation, and to that divine spirit which lead them into all truth. Friends find that the light within accompanies, comforts, and loves us as we seek divine truth. It illuminates, inspires, and transforms us. It shows us how to live with love, compassion, and justice towards others. And it gives us energy and power to change ourselves and the world in small ways and large. And it provides ongoing revelation of God's truth. The light within is not the same as conscious or moral faculty. Conscious is conditioned by education, personal experience, and the cultural and social environment. Only when the conscious is illuminated by the light of Christ can it serve as a dependable guide to a spirit-led life. Recognition that God's light is in every person helps us to overcome our apparent separation and differences from others. It leads us to a sympathetic awareness of their needs and a sense of responsibility towards them. Friends believe that the more widely and clearly the light is recognized and followed, the more the human family will come into harmony and peace. Therefore, wrote George Fox, in the light, wait, where unity is. Namaste. Now it's my great honor, and I didn't even have to douse to get the positive yes, that our speaker today is none other than our beloved Jeanne Gehringer.
That couldn't have been more perfect. Yeah. Microphone check, little high. Was that it? Okay. I had a very nice talk prepared about light, and we're still going to talk about light because Vicky's like, you told me it was about light, and she did her comments according, and they're perfect. So my whole talk is about darkness and light, the interplay, and what we do when we feel we're more in the darkness, and how we bring ourselves back into the light in this season of light. And then this last week, I had a week from hell where I was, it's okay, where my own little inner light was very much challenged and plunged into darkness. So why don't we start there? So this talk today, I have a lot prepared, but I've asked Spirit to guide me what parts to bring in when. So it may be more discordant than the normal organized Jeanne you hear, but know that my spirits are guiding me. Let's start with this voyage I had last week because it's something we all go through in different ways and really personifies the season. I have an acquaintance who has a retired Army nurse, a bit younger than me, who is very disabled with lack of sight, hearing issues, and I don't know what all is going on with the body, but she has had a lot of surgeries in arms and legs and has some type of condition where she stumbles when she walks, can't move well, and has incredibly weak, limbs, and is basically incredibly disabled walking. She has no family like myself, which is where I felt empathy. Those of us in the early years of the military who were women were not allowed to marry nor have children. And a lot of people don't know that. So she has no family, and she has a brother that lives several hours away who is not really involved. She asked me to accompany her to Phoenix for her to undergo a minor medical procedure. They had told her she needed someone to just be around the night after the surgery. They wanted someone to check on her during the night to make sure she was okay. And of course, this woman cannot drive. And I have in the past been giving her a lot of rides here and there and know that she really likes to get out. So when things come up that I think she'd enjoy, I pick her up and take her and we go places. I'm going to be totally honest with you all that being with her has never been enjoyable. I'm always on. I'm watching for what's fallen, what's left. Zippers, purses are drug on the floor or open, cell phones fall out, wallets fall out, ID cards fall out. And so I'm on, and even though she has hearing aids, I have to speak way above my normal volume to the point that other people around me are looking at me. And her speech is soft, and her neck is permanently in this position. And she turns her head like this. So she mutters when she speaks, and I can't hear her clearly. So it's a constant business of repeating and asking again. And I will be honest to say that being around her has been a gift for me to do so, and that I struggle with my own patience. And although I've done a lot of caretaking in the past, somehow this has been a struggle. So I knew that it was going to be a tough 4 days, just being around that a lot. And we get into Phoenix and get settled. And the time of her surgery switched to incredibly early, so that I had to be up by 3 o'clock to get her there in time. So I am not good about waking up in the morning. I will wake up and find 3 dead alarm clocks that I put out of their misery. And I don't even know what happened. I have overslept important things because I am not a good early waker-upper. So I stayed up all night to be sure I could get her there on time for this procedure. And although I'm still a very good night driver, I don't have issues driving at night yet, but I do have issues with, in a strange big city with my cell phone here, following the map. Where the heck am I going? Turn here, oh no, middle lane, oh now turn to the left, now turn to the right. You know, you're in Phoenix. To go to places to eat, to pick up her prescriptions, all the other things that came up I didn't know about. So I had been spending a couple of nights on the phone in night traffic in a strange city. But I get her to the place, and she gets checked in, and something made me go up to the nurse's station. I knew they had to know who I was and my cell phone number and all that. Okay. And something, I thought, you know, I'm going to go ask a couple of questions. And I went up and said, I need to know what all I'm supposed to do in her 24 hours of recovery before we come home. And so they brought out the nurse and found out that I had to be with her, physically with her for 24 hours. That I had to be in the room with her, and that I was responsible for her meds, for keeping her arm elevated, for if she helping her toilet, keeping ice in certain segments of time on and off the procedure site. And I'm trying to remember what all else. I was totally responsible the next 24 hours and was not supposed to leave her alone. And I said, okay. I was not at all read in on this. I said, what about going out? There was a Denny's next door to our motel. And we had not adjoining rooms, but rooms down the hall from each other. So what about getting food in? You better go do that now. We don't want you to leave her alone. And to get that done now, and literally not be there. And of course, I'd already not slept the night before, and I was supposed to stay up the next 24 hours. Whoa. What feelings? Did not want that responsibility. The first big feeling is, I'm not family, I'm not a close friend, I don't want this kind of responsibility. This is not, I really don't want that kind of responsibility. And then the next thing was, physically, am I up to staying up another 24 hours and then driving home to cruises from Scottsdale? And what I'd have to do is probably stay another night to get some sleep and come back. But then I miss a really cool party I've been wanting to go to all year, right? So, I see in your faces, I mean, how would you feel? That the responsibility, and also that you've been had or used or got in way over what you wanted, and enraged maybe. So I'm sitting in the waiting room and just sitting there, and the nurse said, it looks like you were unaware of all this. And I said, I absolutely was not aware of this. She says, you have the right to not do it. I said, and then she doesn't have the procedure, right? She said, right. So I said, okay, I'm on board. I will do the right thing. I'm responsible. I will do the right thing. I will handle it well and do the right thing and get her home. And that's it. So I'm in the waiting room. Just, it is so unlike me to have so much negative energy running through me. I am not used to that much anymore. And I let it be. I let it be for a while. Just, I didn't talk to anybody, yell or scream. I just sat, fuming, and then took out a pendulum quietly, and just started talking to my spirit guide, saying, okay, you know, help, you know, that's your first prayer, right? Help. Okay, I'm going to have to be good through this, so can we take this energy and start transmuting it so that I can get centered enough and good enough to handle her well without, I mean, she's having a procedure. Do we want someone to slow up their healing because you're shooting negative energy at them? No. So help me out here. And I'm sitting there quietly doing that, and then I calm down a bit and pick up a couple of books or things I had brought to get ready for this talk, actually. And there was one other person, but I was absolutely enraged, furious. And I don't know what it's doing, but we're going to let it keep it. I mean, that's how I've learned, you know. I put a lot out there, and I pick up a pendulum, and when it's working, it's doing things at other levels for me. So, okay. So I sat down. There was one other man in the waiting room. At that point, there was just one. And I don't know how we struck up a conversation. Hi, are you here for someone? It's either done with whatever. Are you done with somebody? Are you here? And what do you think of this place? You know, kind of thing. And then he says, you're really distressed. You're really putting off the energy. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'll try to contain it. I don't want that on any. Oh, yeah. And we just started talking, the two of us. Here I was in darkness, enraged. And we just started talking. So he turned out to be God sent. A very spiritual being. Didn't know anything about dowsing or any of that, but totally had a wake-up call when he had prostate surgery a couple of years ago. And we just started talking about spirituality and his experiences of seeing angels and feeling energy and this and that. And of course, you know, that's my ballpark. So we just start just having this great conversation about spirit and how it shows up, and about source, and about the different ways to see things. And he had a great sense of humor. So as I told him the whole story of having been had, he put it into laughing light, and we started cracking up about it. He had a great ability to go, yeah, you know, and we just started joking, and I said, thank you. So there he was in darkness, and look how Spirit sent me light. Because I had to get back okay, so that in dealing with her the next 30 hours, that I didn't, you know, it's what she causes her. I don't want to be unduly negative back at somebody. And he was great. And we had the best time, and we almost, when his patient came out, his wife and mine did, we almost didn't want to stop talking. We're having such a great time talking about everything you and I and all of us would talk about. And he was so glad to meet somebody that was, like, he didn't know about dowsing. That kind of, you know, showed, oh, wow, I can use that with my massage therapy. Yeah, you sure can. And other things. And so he saw me, you know, with the pendulum, and he said, what is that? And I told him, and basically how to use it, but I didn't want anyone using it till they were trained by me or had read Letter to Robin. Other than that, it's just a Ouija board. He says, oh, yeah, I stay away from that. He says, where can I get one of those? And I gave it to him. He says, where do you get them? I says, oh, I get them to sell to my students. He says, well, how much? I said, oh, you're God sent. This is, thank you. Thank you for coming in my life at this moment, because I was having a hard time getting myself out of this well. I really was. And for me, folks, that's unusual. I practice my spirituality all the time and all day, and it's pretty easy to right myself. This one really, really, it hit at a whole lot of levels. So when we got out and I got her back, and, you know, went over what all the nurse had told me. She's a retired Army nurse, and her response is that nurse didn't know what she was talking about, and that she knew better, and she didn't need anybody with her. And I thought, oh, are you giving me a gift? Get to sleep in my own bed tonight. And she didn't need this, and she didn't need that. And I thought, all right, I'll go with this. So I got her settled in her room, watched her. The biggest thing that did frighten me, she is a frequent faller. She falls all the time. She joked when I picked her up at her house how she'd fallen twice that week in her home and had bruised arms and skin tears and everything. And they especially pressed upon me that she can't fall. And so, depending on how bad I had to do this or that or that or that. And so I watched her, and she launched into how she knew how to act after surgery. She wasn't going to fall. She knew how to be careful, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Or the folks in Zoom land enchanted by the blah, blah, blahs. So I said, all right, this is an opportunity. And I went back quiet. She's not spiritual. She's not awake in any way. So I went back by myself and did some dowsing. And here's what I did. I dowsed that she would be okay until I got her home. I put in all my healing stuff so that she wouldn't fall. There would be no reactions to medications or anything, and that she would be able to do her own meds, her own ice packs, her own stuff, without me more than coming in every couple of hours and checking. And I set that up and then checked in through my dowsing on how she was. And also I had the key to her room, went in every couple of hours and just took a look. And by doing that, then that night slept in my own bed in my own room and could give myself some peace. That's how I handled that. So the next day we're leaving. And this was a 4-day trip. So I packed a tiny little roller bag and a hangy with another pair of jeans and a shirt. She packed so much stuff I had to get the hotel rolly thing. Who do we think is going to do that, you know? So a lot of it was I'm feeling used. There were several other loose containers and a suitcase that when I picked it up was a good 50 pounds. It was a 50-pound suitcase for a 4-day stay. And of course, what keeps coming back to me is understated is I'm handling all this. You go in with 2 bad wings and surgery it's going to be here. And so we're getting out. I got the roller thing. I got to her room. I put everything in there, got it down. We're done. Had breakfast. I'm loading my car, and I got to rearrange everything in my car. And I'm wrestling a bit with this 50-pound suitcase because it was lumpy to get it in up on the seat. And she made jokes. To her, it was a joke. It's a military thing that those of you who are in, the Air Force is always considered the soft, easy service. And the other services are the ones that do the real work. So the Air Force is always kidded about being soft and easy while the others do the real military work. So she sees me struggling with this bag and launches into how she's Army strong and can do all this stuff, and I'm weak. And how Air Force is weak and can't handle it. Sharon, you can close your mouth, honey. My beloved spiritual friends, I lost it. I so lost it. My little light was gone. And the ego person gene that the soul is in took over with both barrels. I don't think Army knew Air Force could shoot like that. So I didn't say anything that I hadn't rehearsed that I was going to say later when I dropped her at her house. I didn't. And there were several things I didn't say that I knew would hurt too bad, like how hard it is to be around her just on a daily basis, that you're always on, you're not comfortable. I would never, that's hurtful when someone's disabled. I mean, they are what are you going to do? So there was a lot I didn't say, but I did say everything I had planned to say, but with a lot more vehemence. And not how I wanted to do that. And I've thought, since then, how I could have done it better. I'm really getting to know you all, and I'll tell you, that's only the second time in my life I've ever had an anger outburst like that in my whole life. It is normally I step back, space in between, let me respond, and it didn't happen. And the other situation some years ago was very, very similar. It was very similar in being taken for granted for a long, long time and being put in the background a long, long time. Anyway, so it was, so we finished, paid the bill, and got in, and I tried to soften it somewhat by saying, look, there's nothing that I just said I wouldn't have said, but it was with much more force, and I'm sorry about the force. I'm sorry about that. Her response to the whole thing, and I'm still dealing with it, she literally curled up in a ball in my car and started sobbing, saying how badly I'd hurt her, how horribly I'd hurt her. And I'm definitely willing, later to all of you and to talk about that. The biggest thing that she said hurt her was when I said all this years of picking her up, dropping her off, that I never heard her say thank you. And I haven't. And she insisted that she has, and that I just can't hear because her voice is soft. Okay? I said, okay, we can set a reset button and say you probably did, and I just didn't hear, and go from there. But the other response that just absolutely floored me was when I took seriously what the nurse said to do, was she looked at me and said, you're just acting out in fear. You are in fear that something could happen. I said, I'm not medical. How would I know that nurse is? She said, so she was overdone, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And you reacted in fear, and you're making this whole thing because you're in fear. Interesting. Why am I going over this whole thing that you probably didn't come here to hear? Because this is not unfamiliar to things you've all encountered and how we have dealt with others. So I'm going over how I dealt with it and didn't deal with it as helpful hints, and also as that you all may know also more than I. So even when we think we're in the right, so to speak, the other person from their perspective can see it so different. And I did explain that fear that she falls, yes. But I'd seen her fall a lot. On outings, I see her walk into walls. I see her drop things, forget things, get curled up with fabric under her feet and not even know she's walking on a bedspread or a scarf. I said, so you can say I'm dealing with fear, but my experience is you needed to be watched, and they've got you on drugs. And anyway. When I got her home, I again brought up where had I hurt her and did my best to soften it or go into it and to, without losing my own identity or without saying I'm sorry for something I wasn't sorry for, which I wasn't willing to do, to leave it good enough to try to soften my outburst. There was nothing from her in any words of any sense of how upset I had been to explode like that. So we're dealing with disabled person who is pretty self-absorbed. Anyway, so I got home and did a bunch of dowsing and have been. And much to my surprise, that whole event has stuck with me way more than I think it should. And I don't know why. Hence the talk today, and I was going to talk about it anyway. But what all do we do when I take the pendulum and say, okay, go within me, all levels, all spaces. Corral up the darkness, corral up the energy that is not positive for me, and transmute it. Do whatever is most appropriate and best interest. And I've done that a lot. That's one way I work with, turning darkness into light. I also send her healing, absolutely. Also send light her way. We've all been in family and other close situations where we feel knocked like that. And I feel sometimes easy to get our balance back and sometimes hard. And this was a particularly hard one for me. She's not a friend, she's not a close friend, so that's not even involved. But it was has been very, very hard. It's not over yet. So here are some things that help me on restoring the balance. Music, the kind of music that you like that makes your soul feel good. Chimes, I have big, long, resonant chimes out both doors of my house. And just listening to those, because they're they're not light and tinkly, they're deep and good. Fragrance, for me, balsam, the fir, frankincense and myrrh, that kind of thing will put me right back to God, right back to spirit. Nature, walking, the breath. I've lost track of how much time I've done. Okay. The breath, in with God's source, out with whatever's not good for us. And I've had to keep doing all this again and again and again. Transmuting the energy. Transmuting the energy. I know that when we're in darkness, for whatever reason, we're in a much lower energy, and we can't be the light or see the light or feel it. And that's why when you get a God-sent person like Carlos in the waiting room who can help you out of it by laughter or joking or whatever, now what a gift of light that is, right? Two of my favorite books for source of information on anything are the Anna, Grandmother of Jesus book, and Anna, Voice of the Magdalenes. How many of you are familiar with them? Okay. I was looking up for the talk. I was looking up the early days of Jeshua's life when he was a young boy and how he was learning to deal with negative energies because he felt them. We all do. A lot of us are empathic, and he was born of the light. He was light born. So he could feel these negative energies of the world and where he was and everything around him. And I was looking up as a child how they taught him to handle this, because he was going to have to handle it more and more as he grew. So he was taught to embrace and transmute every expression of energy without judgment. Let me repeat that. And Joseph taught him this, to embrace. We're all taught if it's negative or it's dark to get it out of our head. Kind of send it away, when you're meditating. Let it go somewhere else. No, embrace it. Embrace it. It's here, all right? I'm feeling this. Let it be. Now we transmute it. And the words I would use is transmute it as spirit, to transmute it to whatever's most appropriate and best interest for all and everyone concerned. Okay? So he was taught to embrace and transmute every expression of energy without judgment. And so for me, to do this where I was without judgment to this lady, who's basically acting out of being disabled on many levels and being unaware of how much she is. And I would hazard to say, with what she said about the nurses, that she's in a lot of denial about how bad she is. But to do this without judgment, that there's this poor soul that walked, into my life this way. We had a conflict. To take that energy, embrace it, transmute every expression of that without judgment, and both of us to be sent divine healing love. Joshua was showing in a lot of ways that by attunement with the invisible light that leads to God, the human heart may be freed of darkness. Now, when Vicki read a lot of what the friend said, thank you. It went totally along with the words I had prepared that I was going to say. I'm so glad she did. So what we're doing, many of us, like I say, who are empathetic, feel so much. And I want to say a few words about where we are today in the world. Between our politics or the world or the wars and all, many of us feel it deeply and find it hard to get out of that darkness. But if we're in that darkness, we can't see our light. So being in this world but not of it is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're abdicating those folks. It doesn't mean you're not concerned. A lot of people think it means you don't care. No. Those of us who are of the light have to stay above it, bless it, bring light to it, in order to bring light to the whole, whatever it is. So when I see people, like I have a Jewish girlfriend who's suffering mightily right now with what's going on, but to stay in that sorrow, in that grief, in that darkness is not helping anyone else rise to see to see light, to see solutions at all. And so I think that a lot of folks have issues with being in this world but not of it, but that means you don't care, that you're not concerned. It doesn't mean that at all. It just doesn't. In this season of light, as Vicki so wonderfully said, there are all kinds of traditions and all kinds of faiths, beliefs that have a season of light. And we have many bringers of light. Joshua was one. Buddha was one. There are many, and there are many we know not of because their stories weren't written down. And it's all about enlightenment and light and darkness and transmuting the energy. And we all in this group definitely believe each of us is the light, has the light. I find outside of this group, groups like us, that's not too common a belief. Even in some religions where they am doing this, because they don't have the belief that light is within them, that you have to go somewhere else to get it, or through their hierarchy to get it, or whatever. That's absolutely not what Joshua wanted at all. We all know what a Merkaba is. Let me get a little picture. I wanted to Merkaba. I have pockets, pendulums, and hopefully a Merkaba, little Merkaba. So it's a tetrahedron, two of them together. Okay. So a Merkaba is sacred geometry. It's a double star. It combines opposing energies in perfect balance, masculine and feminine, earth and cosmos. And this union results in activation of light and protection around a person. In this book, it basically says that the Star of Bethlehem was a Merkaba. A big Merkaba made light. Now, some people feel that it wasn't physical, that the wise men saw it through their third eye. Other people say not. I really don't care. It was a Merkaba that led the wise men, the Magi, to the infant Jeshua. When you take apart the words of Merkaba, it means body, soul, and light. We have a physical body. Mother Earth gave it to us. Our parents made us physical body. We have spirit within, but we also must have light. So the three things activate each other and provide this fantastic sacred geometry emblem of creation and balance. And I thought it'd be fun to bring into that concept today about the Merkaba as light, spirit, and body, and let each of us think about it a minute. That it was put in the skies to alert people who could see that, in fact, a light being had been born, had been physically born on this planet. And that we each are this and can be this if we embrace it. So being unattached as much as possible to the suffering around us. I'm going to let Vicki pass that around if she wants. I'm a dowser. I will know where it ends up. To look within our cellular memory patterns of separation and judgment. Okay? Cellular patterns of separation and judgment. So that was triggering me, right? I was being judged. Yeah? Okay. Transmuting fearful emotions. The fearful energies permeate some places more than others. So there's some regions of the world that have more of these emotions. And in this book, Anna said actually that Jerusalem was one of them. Isn't that interesting? And she was coming through, this was written maybe 25 years ago, but she was coming through showing her life as it was 2,000 years ago. So the light person, Jesus, although born in of light, and he was encoded with light-filled DNA, light-filled energies, but yet he's born into darkness. It was a dark time in that land. Immediately they had to go to Egypt to save him because King Herod heard about it and was worried that somebody might take his place. Also, actually, they had to take John the Baptist also. It's written about in here. Any light-filled being that was in the way. So we have the interplay again of light and darkness, light and darkness. So with those of us who really try to work with the light and be the light, we are going to encounter darkness. We are. And we are going to always try to open the light in others. I was listening to a wonderful little presentation, and the lady giving it was talking about as we leave 2023, going to 2024, to really look within the dark areas of yourself. Where in little areas of yourself does darkness hide or stay? And I think I was shown. Where do areas in you are there that are still pocketed? And to work with them, she said, and let them go so that we can embrace 2024 fully, openly. I'm trying to see how long I've been talking. So that was my little light and darkness trip this week. I have many other things to talk about that were from the Anna book, about how Joshua was light infused and as the bringer of light and the light frequencies from source. And that's all wonderful, but you can get into that yourself. What I would like to end with is a meditation that Joshua gave and was presented in this book. So I'll let you each get into a really nice space. And by the way, I went shopping to try to find a bunch of little Merkabahs to give each of you one today, and couldn't find them, but the thought was there. So this is a guided meditation from Joshua. And for those of you who would rather use source or another lighted being source that sent us, that's absolutely fine. He's fine with it. So I'm talking as if I were him. Imagine me as a dear friend or as an orb of golden light coming to meet you face to face. A radiant golden sphere of light surrounds us. Within this calm and illuminated space, we breathe the breath of life. I invite you to slowly and gently breathe with me. Join your breath with mine. Simply breathe. Exhale. Send any tension and weariness into a light or a flame, as you may imagine it inside my heart. See my heart flame growing brighter with every breath you breathe. Ah, inhale. Breathe in my eternal light. Breathe in my eternal love. Breathe in my peace. Exhale. I breathe in any pain you may be feeling. It's all right. Inhale. Feel the warmth of my love expanding your heart, igniting your heart flame. I send you my love and my peace upon the wings of my breath. Breathe in peace. Exhale. I breathe in your pain, all the suffering of your body, mind, and spirit. Ah, give me your burdens, and I shall make them light. Inhale. My peace I give unto you. Exhale. Imagine your sufferings like a moth, flying into the crucible of my heart. See your grief, anger, and fear transmute into golden light. A new dawn arises. Inhale. I am the resurrection and the life. Breathe with me again. Remember the Christ within. We breathe the breath of life, my beloved friend. Softly breathe. Rest in the stillness of the great silence. Simply be aware of your breathing. Nothing to do but follow your breath. Just come back to your gentle breathing. Become aware of the breath within the breath, flowing freely with each deep inhalation and exhalation. Breathe in the infinite light and love. Receive me into your sacred heart. Relax. Allow your heart to smile. The stone of separation rolls back from your heart. The Son of God calls forth the entombed Christ lying within yourself. Come forth, awaken and arise. I say unto you, peace, peace, peace. Allow the quickening of light within every sail. Allow the falling away of what no longer serves you. Breathe sweet peace into every cell. Come into the light. Come away from the tomb of ignorance. Come with me to the pure lands and forgive that which dies and is dead. Gather up your fragmented self and place it all within the comforting womb of your Christ Magdalene heart, the infinite heart of compassion. Let the Christ child grow within you. With each breath, receive renewed vitality, every cell resurrecting. Deeply breathe. Become aware of the golden orb of light that surrounds us. Allow the form of your human body to be the Son, S-O-N, and Son, S-U-N, of God. Be the infinite light. Come home to the mother, father of your being. Let go of your identity in flesh and merge with me to a greater light, beyond all light, beyond all forms. Breathe, relax, simply be. My breath is your breath. The beating of my heart is the beating of your heart. My body is your body. Self and other are merged in divine union. Bridegroom and bride, Christ and Magdalene, one life. Now, knowing the oneness, feeling compassion for all life, breathe awake your awareness of the suffering of others as being no different from your own. Gently breathe out your gift of love's pure light into your brothers' and sisters' hearts. Gently breathe in and receive their pain as a ball of darkness. Place the black or dark gray ball of suffering gently inside your Christed heart. Watch as the darkness melts into the light. Every heart glowing, every heart calmly at peace. Be not in expectation of change or reward. Simply allow what is to be as it is, This is infinite love. Just know other is yourself, the great perfection. As I know your heart is mine, so it is that the one beyond names continues to breathe the breath of light. Regardless of how many times you may choose to experience this union of souls and hearts, this marriage of spirit, let it serve you well, my beloved brother, sister, my beloved Magdalene. Peace be unto you now, within this breath, and unto the end of the world. Be not concerned about the form I may take when next we embrace, for you shall know me as I am, beyond all forms and names. It is for you to choose, and in this way, know yourself as the Christ Magdalene you seek. I am with you always. Namaste. And I am beyond grateful to be included in this wonderful spiritual setting and group of people. Thank you.
Let's have the meditation be our affirmative prayer. And now we will have a trio of musicians sharing their gift of music with us.
Thank you. Do I need to stop?
I feel lucky to have Barry and Edwin joining in with me on this new song, and I hope you all will. It's a brand new song, another world premiere. And, you know, as I meditate on what I'm going to play at these services, it starts from a place of not knowing at all. And so I thought about what this the season, you know, it's Christmas, and it's also undeniably the solstice up here in the northern regions. Are we hearing this? Yes, it's okay. So that's where it started. That's where this song started. It's called Thankful, and every line is pretty much repeated twice. So I'll sing it, you'll learn it, sing along, join in as you'd like, anywhere on the song. On the longest night, I am the light. On the longest night, I am the light. And I'm thankful, 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 thankful for the light. When there's trouble on land and sea, I am peace. When there's trouble on the land and seas, I am peace, and I am thankful, 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 thankful for the peace. When I'm not feeling the love, I love, love, love. When I'm not feeling the love, I love, love, love. And I for the love. On the longest night, we are the light. On the longest night, we are the light, and we are thankful, 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 thankful for the light. When there's trouble on the land and seas, we are the peace. When there's trouble on the land and seas, we are the peace, and we are thankful, 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 thankful for the peace. When we're not feeling the love, we love, love, love. When we're not feeling the love, we love, 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 and we are thankful, 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 thankful for the thankful. I couldn't stop.
I think everybody's light is just shining real bright right now. And we are thankful. Thank you, Miss Jeanne. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing your light with us. There are many people that we want to thank for helping put this production on. The techies, the cameras, the musicians, and our speaker, and all of you for bringing your light to share with all of us here. And speaking of sharing, it is now time for our offering. And Edward will come forward with the basket if you'd like to put your tithe or offering in. The little drummer boy had a short little trip. So as we acknowledge and receive our virtual and our in-person gifts, we give great thanks for the offerings already given and those that we will be receiving, because we know that the giving and the receiving are both part of one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know that they are multiplied throughout our community. And so it is. So in this season of light, many blessings to each of you. Blessings of a happy solstice, a Merry Christmas, happy holidays will kind of encompass all of it. So, and not to be disrespectful, but there are 14 different holidays between November and January. So happy holidays is appropriate. So blessings to all. And thank you out in Zoom land if you'd like to stick around and visit. And for the rest of us here in person, we can go over to the fellowship hall. And please stand if you're able and read the benediction, and then followed by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world, and so it is.